Howdy, Internet. Today we are stringing this Ibanez, which I forgot to look up what model it is. It's this guy's signature. Anyway, this beautiful Ibanez, it's a brand new guitar. The customer wanted a set of black Beauties on it, so that's what we're doing. Since this is brand new, I'm not going to remove all the strings at once. I'm going to do it a string at a time so that I don't have to fight the bridge later. We're going back with the same size strings, 9 to 42. That's the same gauge that's on here. And this is how I do it. I start by removing the locks. This is a 3mm Bondhus Allen wrench driver we sell on the website. I'm going to try to remember to put links in the description for the products that we sell. Now that the locks are off, I'm actually going to back off all the fine tuners so that I don't forget this step later. So for this, I like to loosen them up all the way. And then these, they'll stop. They have a positive stop once they get just about all the way up. You can feel it. You don't want to over twist these because you can't remove the screw. I'm just going to tighten these back about like a complete turn, maybe a turn and a half, just so that I have a little, so I can go both ways after I lock it. Because I'm sure you know, if you've strung a Floyd Rose and with the locking nut and dealt with it, sometimes when you put the locks in, it changes the pitch slightly, so you have to come back and adjust it with the fine tuner. So I try to leave the fine tuners where I can adjust it both ways, and still giving plenty of travel to tighten them later. Now with that loosened, I'm going to retune it. I know I do a lot of tuning and stringing in my videos, but that's a lot of the work I do. These black Beauties are black in color. They're really cool looking. They're going to look great on this white guitar. So I'll just give it a rough tuning. We're going to tune a lot with this because that's how I do these. Remove the strings. We're going to start with the E string, the 3rd and 6th, the E and the G. Actually, I feed them in this way. Remove the E string. And again, I do this one string at a time. A 3mm wrench is all you should need for both the locks and the screw down here that holds the string in. The old string's out of the way. When I string a Floyd Rose, it's the same concept. You just have to maybe consider how much tilt you're going to put in the bridge. I always try to keep it flat and parallel with the body through the whole process, either by keeping the other strings on, or I'll come in here and chalk it with an eraser. And these, I'm going to feed it in this way, basically backwards. You're going under the string tree. Stick it in and lock it. Yeah, this is going to look pretty cool with these black strings on here. after the new string's on, we tune it. If the tuner wants to obey. Ooh, I won't wait too high. And again, I'm not trying to tune it perfectly through this process, just get them to their general average tension that they normally are when they're at pitch. All right, so this set, next one is the G, so we're going to remove the G string next. Loosen it there. Carefully pull it to the string tree. And using the wrench, unlock it down here. Now, normally, well, I guess it depends. If it's a really like dirty guitar or something that just needs to be cleaned or maintained, I will pull all the strings off at once. But this is a brand new guitar, so it doesn't really need a cleaning. I did that wrong. Through here. Lock it in the bridge. Lay it flat. I use the first fret as the distance I measure of how much gets wound around the machine head. And then I'll clip all the excess off. I don't leave it. I just do that as one of the almost last steps. Next string. Now we tune. Wash, rinse, repeat. Again, not aiming for tuning perfection, just getting it in the ballpark. Let's do the A and B strings next. Floyd Rose Fun on a rainy Tuesday here in Baytown, Texas. These black beauties are cool. They're coated, so they're like playing a coated string. Well, obviously, something has to change the color of them, but it's a coated string that also looks really cool. Yeah, these look good on this white guitar. Very cool. I don't sell all the DR colors, but I just don't see the demand for them. But if I have a bunch of people ask for them, I'll carry them. I've been overshooting these lately. All right, we're halfway done ish. B string. Okay, one string at a time. Remove it, put the new one on, retune. And then this really works best when you're keeping the same string gauge that you're removing. And I measured this beforehand before I started. This was a set of nine guitar strings. Next string. Tighten it up. Last two. The D string. Use these tweezers to grab it to feed it through the string tree. Excuse me. Tighten tune. Takes a little longer to string it, but it probably takes just the same amount of time because the time I spend tuning each one is probably about the same time I spend tuning it in the end. Last string. I don't like to leave the excess like this. I'll cut it as one of the last steps after everything's in tune. I have a feeling that these loose here will contribute to tuning instability because as these are kind of waving around in the air, they'll work the wrap loose from the other side, and so therefore that can essentially cause it to loosen up, and then they'll affect the tuning. Also, some of these can get really dangerous. I've poked myself on them before. Fits in like so. Tighten them up. Tune it. Now that all the strings are on, I'm going to tune it several times and maybe pull on them to stretch them a little. In tune to standard. Same tuning that was on before. Then tune again, then tune again, then tune again. At this point, everything kind of has to become one with itself. And what I mean by that is the tension of the strings at pitch has to become one with the tension of the springs in the bridge, and also with the tension that is in the actual wood of the guitar itself, because the neck will flex a little bit under the tension of the strings at pitch. So that's why I mean, like, in tune with itself. All those things have to be in balance. Now I'm at the point where I can clip the excess. Everything's kind of up to pitch. The bridge never really moved because I did this one string at a time. So that's not something we have to worry about when tuning. So I'm at a close enough equilibrium where I can cut the excess and finish this up. I like to wrap up the old strings like this. Easier to dispose of. All right, a couple more tunes and then we put the locks on. Actually, I'm going to kind of stretch these now. Again, not too crazy. I don't want to rip them out of the, I don't want to break the string. Now a couple more tunes. We should be good.
I mean, they're good. They're all kids. Yeah, make sure it doesn't put any
Got a banjo coming up next. I'm going to string, so if you're interested in that, follow the channel, and then that's coming up next. That's going to be my next stream is stringing a banjo, 5-string banjo. Now at this point, I am being very particular on the tuning. I am trying to get it as accurate as I can. So I'm about to put the locks on. So feel free to leave comments if you have any questions. Ideally, instead of just me stringing guitars, I try to open this as an opportunity to talk about things regarding gear or guitars or the store or other related products or music in general. So this is just my way of kind of opening that forum up. And then while I do it, I get some work done around the shop. I guess store. It's more of a store than a shop. We'll get there. Now, a lot of times what I like to do is after it's tuned, I'll just go leave it on the bench for like an hour or so and then come back and retune it. But that would make an even more boring video. So I'm going to tune this up and then put the locks on so y'all can see the full process. Yeah, when in doubt, the easiest way to string a Floyd Rose is to do it one string at a time. Or if you broke a string, start by replacing the one string. We'll tune the rest of them and then start by replacing the one string you broke and then go from there. All right, so when I do the locks, I'm just going to put these, they're still loose. I'm just getting the thread started on these screws. And then I'm going to tune it one more time with the locks. Again, I didn't lock it down. I'm just putting it in place and getting the thread started. We may hear those locks buzz as I recheck the tuning. Cool. So now I do this in pairs. So I will lock the E and the A. Again, firm. You can actually cut the strings by reefing on this too hard. So you don't have to overdo it when you tighten these down. So after I tighten that, I check the tuning of the strings. Oh, this one actually went flat a little, but that's okay. We got plenty of room to move on the fine tuner. Next two, I will tighten them down and then check them. I don't tighten all three locks down at the same time. I do it in pairs, so in case I gotta, gradual steps at a time. These are actually glowing flat when I tighten them. That's interesting. Normally they get higher in pitch. All right, we're almost done. Last lock. Tighten it firm. That's all she wrote. I'm not going to play test it. I have to probably come up with a better method to play test things, because I've been noticing as I'm watching these streams back, as I turn the amp on, it's too loud and the little microphone on the camera starts to compress, and then it's just awful. Then it's not worth doing. But that's all for this one. That's how I string. Oh, that's one way I string a Floyd Rose. Have a great day.